we're at the Morison Museum, Natural History Museum. There's probably some dinosaurs. It's only a short drive from the amphitheatre. And here we are. Mangoes. Hello. Oh, tickets over here. Look.
Oh. I was just.
Sorry, I didn't see you there.
Oh yeah, no worries.
We're going to go see the tour. Oh, steps. Oh. Cretaceous Colorado.
Oh no. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. We just started.
Thank you.
Here.
Okay, thank you.
So we just started up here, and this is our Cretaceous Colorado room. So Cretaceous, the time period spans a huge period of time, but we have some of the animals that would have been roaming around at various times, and we were just talking about this specimen here, and that's a cast of the iconic trackway over at Dinosaur Ridge. When you talk about tracks, part of that is studying the sediment it was left in, and we'll talk later downstairs, tracks were left along a riverbank, but in this sediment they know that this was a beachfront. So these animals here were basically walking along what we think of as the east coast of the western part of the United States. So you see here just a side channel, but then that would be the huge body of water known as the Western Interior Seaway. So, and yeah, so again, it begs the question why we have a beachfront here. And geological forces for a huge period of time during the Cretaceous, this area sank below sea level. So the waters flooded, washed in, and we were an ocean environment for a long time. Where are you guys from?
England.
Oh, wow. You guys have a great history with dinosaurs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some different ones than us, but yeah, that again reminds us that at one time all the land masses, the continents really were much closer together.
Yes.
Animals came and went much more freely. So, yeah, and this too represents some of our marine environment around here. You see the model up there. That's the what a Tylosaurus would have looked like, and this would be the skull. So Tylosaurus is a huge marine reptile, not a dinosaur. Lived here in Morison, Colorado area. Actually, this group of animals would dominate the waterways, the marine waterways globally. So they were very successful.
How large was the sea here? The support, I mean.
Well, extensive-wise, you can see it basically connected the Arctic and the Gulf.
Oh, okay. That's enormous. Okay.
Was considered fairly shallow, coming in, 300, 600 some feet. It was a warm, shallow waterway, kind of like bathtub temperature is what I've heard paleontologists describe it as. So, yeah, and it was present in this area for about 30 million years. So during that time, the shoreline would, of course, change depending on what the water fluctuations were, that sort of thing. So, but that's why you can go 10,000 feet up on a hike here in Colorado and run into ammonites, clams as your fossils. You're basically can be walking on what used to be ocean bottom. So
That's amazing.
It's amazing, is that?
Kids, we went to the beach. Yeah. This here is Herkimer, and he's our dumeral monitor lizard. But again, He helps to remind us what dinosaurs are and aren't. We know they're not lizards anymore. We used to think they were. But when you study animals like Herkimer, their lifestyle, their skeletal makeup, we know that, again, yeah, dinosaurs deserve their own separate classification. So, but the Tylosaurus here is in that lizard snake family. So this is an animal, again, that would be related to Herkimer. The skull would be very similar. You study a skull like this, it has characteristics that we see today in lizards and snakes in that it's fairly flexible. It has this joint right here on the sides that would allow some flexibility there. The jaws could actually move to somewhat ratchet the food with this top layer of teeth, extra set, ratchet the food down to the gullet.
So if that's the size of the head, how big would the actual dinosaur be?
So they'll be estimated at 40-some feet, Tylosaurus would be. So she would be one of the biggest in this group. And others, there would be smaller in this family of animals. That's Platycarpus. These guys are considered the T-Rex of the oceans. They would have ate Platycarpus if they wanted to. Basically ate anything smaller than itself, ate ammonites, ate pteranodon over there. So, quite the predator. But
So that one was more or less classed as the predator of the ocean, then?
yes, this was a big apex predator, so top of the food chain. Again, there wouldn't be too much in its environment that would hunt it. But yeah. We see right over there a cast of this is a rock face that you'll find if you take a hike along Triceratops Trail over in Golden. It's another cool hike. Again, there they have preserved plant material, and for whatever reasons, the part of the mineral makeup, the chemical makeup of the groundwater that seeps through over time, you'll have a better chance of preserving plant material sometimes better chance of preserving bony material. So you don't often find them both in the same rock layer, or dig site, I should say. So this shows you some of the palm fronds, plants like these that we even have today. You also see some of this would be a leaf, kind of like the hardwood leaves that you would see today, and they have the veining in them. And so again, we remember that plants are evolving, changing, trying to survive. The plant eaters, and so they change over time, try to find ways to be more successful. They can tell a paleontologist a lot about the environment, the climate, the animals that live there. Of course, Triceratops here would have been one of the big plant eaters at that time. Here, this is after the seaway. We know about 70 million years ago it will go away because geological forces will bring us up above sea level. The Rocky Mountains out there will start to rise. That's going to drain the water away from that the time of the Tylosaurus. And we're back to kind of a swampy southern Louisiana type environment here in this area. Triceratops would have been very successful during that time. Would have been roaming in herds here in this area, much like cows might do today. This here is her brain.
Wow.
So yeah, they use a casting technique. This is an endocast, and in that sense they're able to capture what the cavity, the brain cavity would look like, and then they can study that. They know that this whole front portion would be dedicated to smell. Back portion here would be, or these two would be for eyes, optic. So again, that goes in, helps the paleontologist figuring out what type of lifestyle this animal lived. So, yeah. We have to remember that plant eaters actually will have some of the sharpest teeth even sharper than meat eaters because processing the plant material, woody type of plants, gritty plants off of the ground, that can really be hard on your teeth, wear them down. This is a great look at an Edmontosaurus jawbone. And you see the extra rows of teeth waiting to come in. As this top layer wears down, they'll simply have more teeth come in and replace it. So it's never ending for them. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
I could do with that.
Yeah, so now we'll go in the Ice Age room.
Any idea on lifespan of those animals based on?
You know, we don't know. We don't have a good technique that gives us that information. People have tried, but we don't really know for sure. So, yeah, that would be very helpful because, for instance, on that Stegosaurus, we see the tracks going from tiny, huge. If you could know the
Is
lifespan.
that 1 year or 15 years to get you from one to the other?
How quick is that growth spurt? Yeah, we don't know. Let me shut the door. Yeah, so Ice Age, we talked about sedimentology and the rates and your track through time. We jumped from 65 million years to basically the Ice Ages right here in this Front Range area, and that in-between time span, we don't have a lot of the fossil record because the sediments weren't laid down, they eroded away, whatever the case was. So it's a big jump in time, but Ice Ages here on the plains of the metro area, you'll find dig sites that will have produced mammoth bones and other animals from that time frame. So, yeah, the mammoth here, actually specifically the mammoth that would have been roaming around Colorado was the Columbian mammoth. So a much bigger animal actually than what we think of with the woolly. This animal would be twice as big as a woolly, up to 13 feet high at that front shoulder. So these were, yes, huge. They are closely related to today's Asian elephant. So they do share a lot of lineage there. Just like today's elephant, the mammoth would have gotten 6 sets of teeth. Those molars back there, and again, being a plant eater, they will wear down over time. Those teeth are great for a grinding platform for plant material. And when they wear down, she'll have another one replaced all the way up for 6 sets, and when the 6th set finally wears out, she may die of starvation, just like today's elephants would.
Oh.
Yeah, and these are great looks at unaltered fossils. So again, we have to remember that fossil, it really is a general term, and you can have fossils that are mineralized, as the ones downstairs were. You can have fossils that are basically freeze-dried. These are simply dried. That's still bone material in there. They haven't been mineralized, so a lot of things can go into, again, what really makes a fossil. Sometimes it's not always what we think. This is an impressive skull of one of the animals that would have been roaming around. The North American lion, thought to be one of the largest cats ever to live, size of a polar bear, up to 1,000-some pounds. You can see there into how wide that skull gets. This animal had an incredible bite. Again, they understand where the muscles would attach, things like that, and they know that this animal certainly would have been able to clamp down, crush through bone quite easily. We also have the giant ground sloth, and then an iconic saber-toothed cat over there. And again, they're always trying to get an idea of what they can learn from the skull, what that does as far as when you put flesh on an animal. and they know that these two holes here would actually be the routes for the nerves to the lip area. That other skull, we noticed the grooves. Told them it would be an animal with a large lip area. This animal would have had a huge whisker bank. Things like that certainly would support that Smilodon here likely hunted in low light situations, maybe dusk and dawn type of things. This was an animal that was incredibly strong in the front half, shoulders. They think possibly could have drug its prey down with its front quarters and then delivered a killing gash with these huge teeth here into the neck or maybe even the stomach area. Let the animal bleed out, wait for it to die that way. So.
What's the difference in time between Pleistocene and late? Is that, I mean, would that cat and that cat have lived at the same time?
Yes, yes. So they certainly, just as you see different cat, you'll have mountain lion. Well, that may not be the best example, but in the African savanna, multiple animals from that group that we call Feliidae, so the cat family, existing in the same environment. They find a way to. And this is a quick look in the lab here. Again, I know for some of you guys you tried the prep already, but we can show you in here and have you take a look at some of our famous fossils. And now try to think of any questions you had that I didn't quite get the answer for, and this is the guy that we can try and stump you with.
How many fingers am I holding up now?
From New York.
From New York.
I'm from Pennsylvania.
So Dr. Bacher is working on this animal.
Yeah. And yes, I
You wouldn't mind.
And actually, Metrodon is part of our lineage. Not a dinosaur. So very, very early proto-mammal.
How do you know that?
So I did a lot of cell biology.
The teeth, and because he told me so.
Forget about the teeth.
The holes in the head.
Oh, yes, we
Do
have.
this. Right behind your eye socket is a soft spot, right?
Yes.
You bite down hard, you can feel a slight bulge there. There's a muscle, it's a jaw muscle. It's not very big. It's big in other animals. There are 4 bones around this hole. You might say, big deal. The big deal is grab a horse, a cow, a whale, a fruit bat, what's your favorite insectivore? A mole, good example. Grab a mole and feel right behind the eye socket, the same hole with the same bones around it. Only us warm-blooded, hairy animals, some of us hairier than others, have this hole. It's locked into our DNA. You cannot be born as a warm-blooded hairy animal without this hole. No one else has that hole. Birds don't have that hole. Turtles don't have that hole. So if you go back in time and follow animals that have this hole, it should lead you back to the earliest animal with that hole. 300 billion years ago, these guys were pretty primitive. They have legs like lizards or salamanders. This is a very, very nice sculpture right there. Come close. This is that hole.
There you go.
We call it the hole of destiny. It's better when you say that you have an echo. Destiny, destiny, destiny. And that evolved about 300 million years ago. And it had many, many intermediates between this and the first thing that looked kind of like an opossum, and then from that to the first thing that looked kind of like a lemur, like a monkey, and from that the first thing that looked kind of like a chimpanzee, and from that you get the most advanced form of life, which is the Chicago Cubs. Clearly the most advanced form of life. But that one hole, there are other things. Cubby's hat is in my truck. That one hole, because it's unique to us, no one else has it, is a wonderful marker. He is the hole of destiny. We need t-shirts. The hole of destiny.
So we
How do
did
you decide
actually
what to
come
work
from
with?
them.
There's thousands of bones.
There are millions of bones out there.
Yeah.
What is sad is the biggest vandal. Right now, Mother Nature is destroying thousands of bones as rocky roads. Most of the bones are more delicate than the rock. As the rock erodes, the bones just fall away to fragments. It'll make you cry if you think about it. But don't think about it.
I'm gonna think about my whole destiny.
A hole of destiny. If you're talking about the hole of destiny to some people who you've just met, first thing to inquire is, are they Southern Baptists? Because if they're Southern Baptists, then change the subject. Otherwise, you're fine.
Yeah.
We are examining late Jurassic dinosaurs. Because the town of Morison is famous for them. The first good Jurassic skeletons in the New World were found in 1877 right here. A thick layer of rock called the Morison Formation, named for the town of Morison. And this sandstone block is part of a series of sandbars in a Jurassic river. And various animal parts fell into the sandbar, got preserved. And it turns out that historically this is way important. As the first Apatosaurus was done here, famous Jurassic dinosaur. First Stegosaurus was done here. And it turns out this is very late in the Jurassic. So you have an arm, good arm. You throw up, you can get into the Cretaceous, the next period. And as we worked on this block, volunteers, find out the fauna, what we get from this stream bed is not exactly like all the other places where the Morison Formation now comes. Morison Formation covers a huge hump from southern Alberta down to New Mexico, from all the way over under the surface to Minnesota. We know that, but we know it's Minnesota because when we dig the fossils, there's petrified Velveeta cheese. Now, if you go the other, that's a Lutheran joke, I'm sorry. If any of you are Lutherans, I apologize. As you go west towards Nevada, the same formation is there. Huge area, which has dinosaurs everywhere. But what we get here is a little different. There's a turtle in this block that no one's ever seen before. It's a turtle. It would look like a pond turtle.
Country roads take me home.